morning, everyone. I'm Victor Hoskins. As Sharon mentioned, we worked together years ago in the state of Maryland, and I've been very fortunate in that I've had the opportunity to work across the region in both the public and private sector, private real estate development, private real estate investment, and mostly in the public sector and economic development positions. I have to say this last experience with Amazon was it was unique, let me just say that, it was unique. And it was probably the most significant transaction that I've ever been involved with in my life. I mean, just the mere size of it. The original, I don't know if you guys knew about the original process when it came out. They put out an RFP for 50,000 jobs and about $5 billion in investment. That was the original proposal that they put out. So that's really what we originally went after. And because Arlington County is the smallest self-governed county in the United States, they didn't give us a very good chance of winning. So I appreciated that. I like when people think I'm disadvantaged. As a matter of fact, a lot of people think I've been disadvantaged all my life, just because I was born in public housing, because I'm of mixed heritage, African American and Italian, my mom's an immigrant, my brother and sister were born in Naples, Italy. How do you get anywhere with that? Well, you get anywhere with that in this country with hard work and strategy. So what we had in Arlington was a strategy, and the strategy really was based on one thing. You can't win by yourself, you win with a team. So we didn't have a big team. We had 8 people, and we were competing against 235 jurisdictions across the country, including Washington, D.C., which has over 100 people in its economic development department. I know because I used to run it. And they also have about $1.3 billion in their budget because they actually oversee 17 agencies, so they had a spread of finances and assets that they could use. And we still managed to come out first. And even the 2 winners at the end, which were New York and Arlington, half going to New York, 25,000 jobs, half going to Arlington, New York lost it. So even when you win, you can still lose. And this is one of the things that I emphasize with my team. So the entire process that we went through for 18 months, over 400 days, was a process of don't get cut off the short list. So if I can give you any advice today, don't get caught off the short list. Because guess what? If you don't get cut off the short list, you end up being number 1. That's just the way it goes. So when it went from 238 down to 20 jurisdictions, people started paying attention to Arlington a little bit. They noticed that, first of all, that we'd done some things that other jurisdictions hadn't done. Getting on that short list was one. The other thing they didn't realize was that Arlington is right in the middle of the second largest gathering of intelligence in the area of technical, engineering, software, hardware development in the country. The only place that you find more engineers than here is in New York City. That's why New York City won. They were number 1, we were number 2. It wasn't Silicon Valley. It wasn't Los Angeles. It wasn't Chicago. It wasn't a lot of places that looked likely. It wasn't Atlanta. Atlanta has the one academic institution that produces more engineers than any other in the country, but they don't have that labor force, and that's what Amazon was looking for. So the first lesson that we really focused on was don't get cut off the list, so stay on the short list. And the second was, what's the problem that Amazon's trying to solve? We weren't trying to solve Arlington's problem. We were trying to solve Amazon's problem and making it complement our opportunities. So we weren't trying to plug a hole. We weren't trying to use them to plug a hole. We were actually trying to use them to produce new opportunities for our existing companies and for our economy. That was really where we were going. We had lost, when I arrived there in 2015, Arlington County had lost 34,000 employees. Their vacancy rate had gone from 10% to over 22%. That means that for every 1 percentage point of vacancy, they were losing $3.4 million in revenue. So they were losing $35 to $40 million a year in revenue because of so much vacancy, and they have lost a tremendous amount of employees because they were really focused on government. They were focused on, they lost them because of BRAC, because of sequestration, because of lower utilization of office space by workers. They lost all these employees. They just exited. And Crystal City became somewhat of a ghost town. Well, when I took over, I looked at that as an opportunity. I said, first of all, the people who own these properties are going to want to lease them, so they're going to be a little softer on their rents. And second of all, we have ready-made space. We don't have to build it. And that was really what we put in front of Amazon. The reason I mention that is because some people thought we were disadvantaged because of that situation, but we didn't feel that way. We felt like we had an advantage. And so taking the advantage and turning it into a disadvantage, taking an opportunity, a problem and turning it into an opportunity is really the strategies that we employ constantly in my office. And we constantly use those to help us get in front of our competitors and really beat them out. So after this 400-day process, well, actually, after the first process of application, I think that our application had 6 weeks to produce this application. It was what we called a world-class application. It was over, great. Oh no, this is not it, but that's okay. It was over 250 pages. You can go online and you can see it. The day after it was announced, we actually put it online because we wanted everyone to know what we did on our application. We didn't want to hide anything. But this application obviously impressed them, impressed Amazon enough so that they came and visited. And when they came to visit, we took out all the guns. And what I mean by that is we enlisted the help of not just the state, but Fairfax County, Alexandria, Loudoun County, of course Arlington, and we all worked together to put them through all the sites that were available in the Northern Virginia region, and we put our best foot forward. We brought in our biggest corporations. Actually, I think 3 or 4 corporations from Fairfax County were at the dinner, along with the Amazon executives. We brought in our leadership, our county chair, our county manager. We had the event in a really cool space in Alexandria. By the way, I think Alexandria is probably the nicest place to live in Northern Virginia, even though I work in Arlington. It is really, has some fantastic things. We actually had dinner in the torpedo factory. Has anybody been to the torpedo factory? Kind of a cool space, a little funky, a little art. And they loved it. Amazon loved it. They felt the texture of our community. And then we put them through their paces, working very closely with our developer, working closely with our county partners and our state partners. We took them, I know they felt like this thing was, we had rehearsed it for probably, 3 months. We had rehearsed it for about 2 weeks. We didn't have a lot of time. And the great thing about it was they were impressed enough to send us questions. And the answers to those questions were 1,100 pages. Those are also online if you want to see those. So if you think you fill out a lot of paperwork when you go work for these companies or you go work for these counties, don't even think about it, okay? You can produce more paper than you have to if you have a team. And again, we enlisted a team to answer all of these questions. When we started moving forward on the process, we actually asked George Mason University to do an economic impact study. I'll give you some of the numbers because this will interest you. Yes, there will be 25,000 to 37,000 jobs coming to the Amazon campus in Arlington County. However, there are going to be another 75,000 jobs produced in the region because those 75,000 jobs are actually supportive services for those 25,000 jobs. So if you have a supportive service, if you're a dentist, a lawyer, if you do real estate sales, if you do residential sales, if you are involved in any form of business that supports the lifestyle of people who work like you do, you are probably going to have some additional business. The other thing that it brings along is a lot of hotel room nights. I oversee hospitality for Arlington County, so hotel room nights are very important to me. Right now, Amazon delivers about 300,000 hotel room nights to Seattle every year. We are expecting somewhere between 125,000 and 150,000 additional room nights. I've already talked to developers and I've talked to hotel flags, and they're looking at putting new product in Arlington because of this. The new product that they really are focused on is product that caters to the millennials because the workforce of Amazon is very young. As a matter of fact, when I sat in these negotiation sessions, I kind of felt like a senior citizen a little bit. And I call myself a seasoned citizen, not a senior citizen. So I felt very seasoned. Let's just a deep seasoned, marinated, wise, felt like a sage. But it was one of those enlightening moments where I realized that they're after workforce that frankly works for me, because I have a lot of millennials that work for me, but are really charting our future because they don't have the boundaries that we have. And you could hear that in the engagement as we went through the negotiation session. I will tell you this, there were some testy moments. There were some testy moments. There were some testy moments between us and the developer. There were testy moments between us and Amazon, because you're trying to get to a conclusion that meets everybody's needs. But I would say 95% of our interactions were almost seamless. And it was because we both had done our homework. They did things like this. After their first visit, they sent people into our community to visit the beer gardens, to visit the restaurants, and just strike up conversations with people. Not really trying to spy, but trying to understand. Like, what do you think of Amazon coming here? And just waiting for an answer. And what they found is that people were overwhelmingly positive about them coming to the community. They said they didn't find that in all the communities that they visited. You know what I'm saying? So, when you're dealing with that vendor, procurement officer, those folks, be nice to them. Bring them some coffee if they drink cappuccino. I mean, that's under the $24 limit, right? I mean, take your time with them, They look sweaty, give them some cold water. I mean, you got to help them out. You got to help them feel comfortable. But they felt comfortable with us. They felt at home. They felt like this is a place where we can be. This is a place where we're wanted. And I saw this article. It was an article in the Washington Business Journal the other day. It said, Arlington County elected officials act cozy with Amazon. And they had things that they had gotten from FOIAs, from emails. It was the most entertaining thing I've ever seen in my life. And one of the quotes was, they asked them how their mother was, because their mother was ill. They said that was getting cozy with them. I consider that decent. And by the way, what were they supposed to do? Have an attitude? I'm sorry, you can't win with attitude. Have an attitude with the procurement officer. See what it gets you. No, you have to. I'm in the row. They're the gatekeeper. They're the gatekeeper. They're the ones that are watching. They're the ones that are watching the gate. They're the ones that are permitting the inflow and outflow of cash flow. So if you want some cash flow, then you better have the right attitude. Our people had the right attitude, and we didn't have to coach them. Guess what? They're nice people. And I will say this. The thing that thrilled me the most was that to a person, every one of the people that I met from Amazon, I would actually either like to work with or hire. And if you're saying that to yourself when you're interacting with someone, there's a chemistry there that you can probably be very honest and transparent with them. And that's what we were. We were honest and transparent with them. We told them the things that we could do, and we told them the things that we couldn't do. And we told them the things that the state could do, and we told them the things that the state couldn't do. Now, the state came up with the big money, $750 million, and we were a little parsimonious, $23 million, okay? But the state taxes on employee payroll, and we tax on property. So we don't have that advantage. By the way, we didn't use property taxes. We use transit occupancy tax. So if you come and visit Arlington, you will probably help pay for this incentive. Thank you very much for coming. Spend all you can. We got a couple of shopping centers that are pretty nice, Pentagon City and a few others. But we really focused on making sure that there was a win-win and everyone understood everyone's constraints. Another advantage that we had was that Arlington County is a planning county. I don't know if you guys know this, but 40 years ago they decided to have the metro come through. And the bottom line is that metro ended up being a huge advantage to us. Crystal City is the most accessible point in the entire region by metro. They have metro, they have regional rail, Virginia Rail, they have an airport. An airport is walking distance, and we're working on building a bridge from Crystal City so that you can walk to the airport. We have bus rapid transit, and we have bike paths, we have running paths, we have scooter paths. Listen, we have a dog path. We're on it. No, if you can move, it's moving. You can do it in Arlington, okay? And they embraced that. they have about 50% of their employees right now going to work by forms of public transit. They said in Arlington, they're predicting 61 to 65% will do that. So it was the perfect solution for them. And what we've also focused on is the 2020, the 20 feet, from the front of the building to 20 feet up. We're trying to change that experience in Crystal City. If you go right now, if you go down Crystal Drive, you'll see what it's going to be like. There's shops, there are restaurants, there's sidewalk dining. It's not that way throughout Crystal City. That's what we're going to do throughout Crystal City. And that's another thing that we're excited about. So the bottom line is this. The winning of Amazon was really the result of a 4-year strategy. 4 years ago, I came in to my position, and I told the board of directors of the county that we were going to become the innovation center of the world. And they giggled, and they said, Victor, can you just take it down from the world and just make it the United States? So I said, okay, I'll reduce my vision. Okay, I'll bring it down, all right, of the United States. And when I put that on that slide, and they permitted me to go out on the streets with this, people in the community were kind of like, how could we do that? We're a government town. And the thing is, that's why you have a strategy. A strategy leads you to your North Star. Our strategy was to focus on ed tech, med tech, clean tech, big data, cybersecurity, AI, and corporations. And guess what we've been spending all our time? Ed tech, clean tech, big data, cybersecurity, AI, and corporations. We got Nestle, we got Gerber, we got Lidl, which is the second largest grocer coming out of Germany. We were able to get tenants that we should never have gotten, but we got them because we had a strategy. It wasn't the money that we put on the table. Actually, out of the 255 transactions that have happened since I've been there for over 14 million square feet, we have only incented 20 deals, and that includes Amazon. So we are very, very particular about what we will incent and what we will not incent. The way we deploy our resources is in line with our strategy. If it's not in line with our strategy, you're not going to get our resources. Trust me, 255 companies asked me for incentives. So I said no 235 times. So you have to be consistent. And I think that probably was one of the things that really led us to the Amazon opportunity, because there had never been an opportunity like Amazon, putting it out in an RFP to the public, basically to the whole world. People from, Toronto competed, Mexico City competed. Are you serious? That had never happened before. So, but we were ready for it because we were allocating our resources appropriately. I don't know what the strategy is for your company. I don't know what the lessons are from my talk about what you can and cannot get. But I will tell you this, if you have a strategy and it is sound and it is tested, now mine is steeped in years and years of experience. And I did a strategy for the District of Columbia. It was very different. You can actually go online and see it. It's the 5-year economic development strategy. Transform DC, 87 public-private partnerships, $7.5 billion in investment, 52,000 jobs. The Wharf, City Center, a lot of nice places. And since I live in DC, I get to enjoy them. But really focusing on their strategy, their assets. You got to think about the assets of your company. What are your strengths? What differentiates you from the other guy that's competing from what you want? And allocate your resources to those strengths. Look, I'm sorry, I do not allocate my resources to my weaknesses. I cannot draw. I don't draw. I just don't. I love numbers, particularly numbers that have dollar signs on them. I do math. I love that, okay? I stay away from art. Do not look at anything I've ever produced as artwork in my life. I'm going to tell you, don't focus on your weak. I could pour all my life savings into me being a better artist. It will never come out, because I don't have it, okay? So don't you pour yours into something that you don't have. You got to focus on what you do have. And by the way, if you have a teammate that presents better than you, let them present. And if you do the financials better, do the financials. Look, I knew this. I was a little seasoned for my role. So you know what? I shared my transaction work with my business investment director. She is younger and she is incredible, Christina Wynn. This woman is a powerhouse. And you know what? I coached her and she was even better. And that's really what I needed. Think about how you allocate your time and your money on your strengths and your weaknesses. Leave your weaknesses alone and focus on your strengths and focus on the strengths of your people. I'm going to end with this. So when I arrived in Arlington, I was impressed with a couple of things. One, I felt like I had a brilliant staff, but they had never acted brilliantly. Two, I felt like I had a creative staff, but they had never acted creatively. Three, they had limited resources. That was true, and they had limited resources. But what I did in my role as a leader, this is what I do everywhere I go. I look for that creativity in my people. And when I hear it, it doesn't matter who's in the room. I lock in on it. And I feed that person until they produce that idea that we need. Because if they're talking creative and we're not, that's the idea we're going to use. So I have some ideas that I've implemented from my receptionist. I have ideas that I've implemented from my CFO. The bottom line is that you go to that idea that's going to help you win, the creative idea. And the thing is, the talent depth was so deep, but it was never nurtured. You have to nurture your talent. You got young talent on your team, lift them up every morning. You see them, you see their face down, ask them what's going on. Take a minute with them, find out their struggles. Because look, if you're my age, you've been through every struggle that there is. There's not a struggle that you don't understand. Look, if it's marriage, divorce, separation, lost your car, lost your job, you've been through these things. Oh, no one here. Maybe there's just me up here. Right? Yeah, y'all cool. I don't know how y'all got through all that stuff without a problem. But life is that way. And when you share with people that work for you and you gird them up and you lift them up, what they're going to produce for you is going to be unbelievable. And I can attest to it by this experience with Amazon. Thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate you listening to me this morning.
So we have a few minutes for questions. Anyone have any questions for Victor? I think, I've been impressed out of my mind with you for many years, but when I heard that you landed the HQ2, I was so very, very proud, and what an accomplishment in your legendary career. So you're one of the guys we say, wear the white hat. And so, we like seeing you coming on the horse, right? Because we know that there is success in its path. Matter of fact, when we competed and won for our MBDA grants, one of the first persons I reached out to was Victor. And he was very generous, and that's why we have a satellite office within his office. And we've had that now for about 4 years. So he is very generous as well. I don't know which outweighs your knowledge or your generosity, but This is just a small token of our appreciation of your time, because I know how busy you are. Matter of fact, I got a call from your office and said, when is he speaking, because he has another place to go. And so thank you for showing up today. Thank you for giving us your time. And thank you for imparting such knowledge, because we heard it from the guru himself. So thank you very, very much. You got one,
My white hat.
White hat?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.